Hello, dear listeners and dear viewers. Thank you very much for coming back to Papa-Norr Storytime. My name is Papa-Norr. As you already know, last week we began a new series, a new book, The Adventures of Naughty Kofi, and I've read book one. And today we are about to read the second book in the series. And to read the book for us, I'll tell you who's going to read the book for us very soon. Thank you very much for subscribing to the channel, for liking it, and for clicking on that notification button. If you're new to this channel, I would like to encourage you, urge you, nudge you. Please like the video, subscribe to it, and click on that notification button. And most important of all, share it with your friends and family to stimulate the minds of the young ones to begin to listen, imagine, and read one more time. Thank you very much. So today, I'm very excited again because we have another very important reader with us. The author of the book we are doing in this series is here with us, and she is going to do the reading for us this time round as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, without wasting much time, let us invite Madame Nana Ama Bachman to do the reading for us. Nana, over to you.
Hello, dear listeners and viewers, and welcome to Papa-Norr Storytime. My name is Nana Ama Bachman, and I'm glad to be reading the second book in this series. The name of the book is Kofi and the Bucket of Powder. Let's get into it, shall we? The Opoku family never seemed to have any peace because of their naughty son Kofi. Kofi is the naughtiest boy in Botikro and is always getting into trouble. The church harvest is approaching, and Kofi has been on his best behavior, much to everyone's surprise. But they don't know that Kofi has a very naughty trick up his sleeve, which will shock the whole town. Let's read. In the town of Botikro, there was no child as naughty as Kofi Opoku. All the adults in the town were always complaining to his parents about his bad behavior. Week after week, different people came to knock loudly on the Opoku family's front door, shouting for Mr. Opoku or Mrs. Opoku to hear their complaints. Each time, Kofi promised to be on his best behavior. The Opoku family attend the amazing Light of God Church. The church harvest is coming up, and almost everyone in Botikro will be going to church with foodstuffs and other things. The Sunday school children will be performing a play that everyone is looking forward to seeing. There is a lot of excitement about the church harvest. Kofi had been on his best behavior the whole week leading to the church harvest. Mr. and Mrs. Opoku were very pleased with him. Nobody had come banging on their door complaining about Kofi. The day of the harvest arrived to much excitement, and the family quickly got ready and made their way to church. The church was a 10-minute walk away from their house. Usually, Kofi trailed behind as his family walked ahead of him, but today he was walking very quickly, urging them to hurry or they would be late for church. His father and mother were happy that he was eager to go to church. It looked like their son had turned over a new leaf. The week before, Kofi had asked if he could help Eja Osei, the church cleaner, to clean the church in preparation for the harvest. His parents had been eager to grant him permission and even gave him some brooms and dusters to give to Eja Osei to help with the cleaning. The Opoku family arrived at church earlier than usual. There were still many empty seats. The minute Kofi entered the church auditorium, he took a middle row seat by a large open window. In preparation for the harvest, the church had been decorated with long pieces of white and purple cloth. The window Kofi sat by was partly covered by the long pieces of cloth. His family came to sit by him, with his younger sister Foriwa taking the seat right beside him. Church service began with songs of praises. Kofi sang loudly and danced along to the joyful music. After praise and worship, Pastor Kusho, the head pastor, walked to the pulpit, greeted everyone, and began to pray. He ended the prayer with a loud amen, to which everyone also shouted, Amen! Suddenly, there was a loud crash, and Pastor Kujo was covered in white powder. The church was quiet until laughter could be heard coming from Kofi. He held a long rope in his hand, and when the congregation looked up, they could see a large bucket hanging directly above the pastor. Pastor Kujo stood stunned, his face so white he looked like the chalk Mr. Ankara, Kofi's teacher, used to write on the blackboard at school. He slowly turned to Kofi and suddenly jumped from behind the pulpit and began to scramble through the pews to get to him. Kofi, sensing danger, quickly jumped out through the window and ran. Pastor Kujo also jumped out and chased him. The congregation sat in shock. This had never happened before. No one knew what to do. Pastor Kujo screaming, Stop! Kofi Opoku, stop! Wait till I get my hands on you, caused the whole church to rush through the church doors to see the usually quiet pastor looking rather scary with his white face, chasing after Kofi, who couldn't stop laughing as he dodged the pastor's outstretched arms. Kofi's father, seeing the pastor fail repeatedly to catch his son, joined in the chase. Kofi, seeing his father, began to run faster and managed to avoid being caught for a while. But after much running around in circles, some tumbles and falls, Kofi began to lose speed and was finally caught by his father. Mr. Opoku held his naughty son by the collar of his shirt and handed him to Pastor Kujo. Pastor Kujo marched him into the church office and closed the door. The rest of the congregation were at a loss as to what to do, so they picked up their foodstuffs and made their way home. Some could be heard laughing as they discussed the powder-covered pastor. Others could be heard coming up with various ways Kofi should be punished. The whole town was discussing what Kofi had done. Pastor Kujo's small office was made up of a wooden table with 3 wooden chairs, a bookshelf, and a small fridge. He instructed Kofi to stand by the table while he took off his powder-covered suit, hung it on one of the chairs, and finally sat down. Kofi was feeling very nervous. Pastor Kujo was looking at him with a very angry look on his face, and he wasn't sure what was going to happen. Without asking him to sit down, Pastor Kujo began to speak. "Where did you get the powder from?" he asked. I found a box of powder in one of the nursery classrooms at school. No one was around, so I took it and emptied it into a bucket, Kofi responded. "How did you get the bucket of powder up the beam?" "Pastor Kujo, I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. I was quiet, you naughty boy," Pastor Kujo screamed. "Tell me how you got the bucket of powder up the beam." Pastor Kujo, I tricked Peter, the new church workman, into doing it, Kofi replied timidly. He passed by the church on his way to the bus station to catch a bus to Kumasi to visit his mother. I told him that Ejao had asked me to put the bucket of powder with the rope tied to it on the beam, but I couldn't do it. So if he could please do it for me, I would be very grateful. He didn't believe me at first, and he wanted to ask Ejao, but I persuaded him, saying it was needed for the play that the Sunday school children were organizing for the church harvest. Unbelievable, Pastor Kujo muttered. He believed me when I said that, got the ladder and set to work, placing the bucket right above the pulpit, tying it securely with a long piece of rope, and laying it down in such a way that no one would see it hanging from the beam, and it would be easy to pull from my seat. He finished before Eja Osei returned, Kofi whispered. The silence that filled the room was deafening. Pastor Kujo had still not taken his eyes off Kofi, and Kofi was looking at everything in the room but at Pastor Kujo's face. Get out of my office. When you go out, tell your parents to come and see me, Pastor Kujo said quietly. Kofi rushed out of the office to find his parents sitting with their heads in their hands. Pastor Kujo would like to see you, he said, his eyes downcast. Mr. and Mrs. Opoku slowly got up and made their way to the pastor's office. The wait for his parents seemed like eternity. Kofi could hear his mother sobbing and his father apologizing profusely. His parents finally came out of the office and told him his punishment. He was to scrub the church floor for a month and also polish the wooden pulpit every Sunday. In addition, he was banned from sitting amongst the congregation on Sundays for 6 months, but would sit on the very first row of the church with Pastor Kujo's wife, who would keep an eye on him. Kofi dreaded Sundays for a long time after that, because even when he coughed, Pastor Kujo's wife would frown and poke him with her long, sharp fingernails. That is the end of Kofi and the bucket of powder. I really hope that you enjoyed the story.
Oh, Kofi. Kofi. In the church too? A man of God? Oh, Kofi. How naughty can you get? Well, it looks like Kofi has too much time on his hands. That is why he's being so naughty. I'm very sure if his parents could organize some extra classes for him during the vacations or help him to write a timetable to keep him busy, Kofi wouldn't have too much time to be naughty. Anyway, so that was book 2. Thank you very much, Nanama, for doing that reading for us. If you're new to the channel, one more time, I would like to encourage you to like the video, subscribe to it, share it, and tell your friends and family to watch it and listen to it. And we are on a campaign to help the young ones to begin to read again, listen, and imagine one more time. Thank you very much for listening to Papa-Norr Storytime. I'll see you again on the 3rd reading. Ta-ta.